Hello friends, my name is Ankush Sir and you're watching Learnomate Technologies YouTube channel. Today's lecture is going to be again very much interesting because I'm going to talk about the PostgreSQL schemas. Schema is a technology which you might have heard with the different databases, and again when you go for an interview, definitely the questions will be based on the schemas, like what is the importance of schema, why we use the schema in the databases. All these things will be asked frequently in the database interview. So let us try to understand the PostgreSQL schema, and I'm going to show you this practically also. But before I go to my screen and before I show you all these things practically, I would request everyone, if you are looking for database training, PostgreSQL training or Oracle training, you can reach out to the Learnomate team. Second thing is you can follow us on our Instagram. You can join our WhatsApp group also. All the links are available in the description of this video. So what is schema? If you see the architecture of PostgreSQL, so first of all, you will have a cluster, which we called it as a PostgreSQL cluster, right? So where your PostgreSQL instance is running. So I'm considering that this is my instance or PostgreSQL cluster. And this PostgreSQL cluster will have a multiple databases. So I'm considering that this is my first database. This is my second database. So let me give the name like database 1 and database 2. Under these databases, you can create your schema. So I will create a first schema here. Let's say I'll give the name like schema 1. Here you can create another schema. And this schema I have created in database 2. Now what this schema will do, the schema will contain your multiple objects, like you can have objects like table, you can have objects like table, you can have trigger, procedure, views, all these different objects you can put it into the schema. Remember one thing, that schema number 1 is completely separate from schema number 2. It means if I create a schema under the database 1, then this schema is actually available here only. अच्छा, ये जो statement था इसको repeat करता हूँ. If I am creating a schema number 1 available under the database 1, it is actually available under the database 1 only. It means if I am creating a schema under database 1, let's say I am creating schema number 2, it will not be available under database 2. So schema is actually under the specific database only. Now what this schema will contain, as I said, it contain a multiple database object. But why we use the schema? What is the reason behind the schema? If I draw the schema over here, let's consider that I have a database. Under that database, I have created one schema. And under this schema, you can have multiple tables will be there. Let's say table number 1, table number 2, table number 3. Assume that in future, I want to take the backup of multiple tables. So I don't need to take the backup separately. I can take the backup of complete schema. And if I'm taking the backup of complete schema, it will take the backup of all the objects which are available under that schema. Even it is the same case for your restoration purpose also. Second thing is like, sometime I want to give the privileges. Let's say I want to give some privileges. So I can give the privileges directly on schema level also. Another thing is I can create a different object with the same name. What I mean to say, let's say I have one more schema here. I'll just draw little small schema number 2. I can have a same table with the same name. What I mean to say, this T1 and this T1 both are completely different from each other. This T1 is belonging to the schema number 1, this one, okay? And this T1 is belonging to the schema number 2. So both are two different objects, even though they have a same name available here. Now when you are doing the PostgreSQL installation, by default, a PostgreSQL schema will be created. Let me show you this practically. If I'm showing you practically, you will understand it much better. So let me open the Mobaxterm where I have already installed the Postgres. I'm opening the pSQL, and now If I want to know that what are all schemas are available under this PostgreSQL database, so I can simply run the command like /dn. When I'm running this command, I can see here that there are 3 schemas are available as of now. The first schema is marketing, second schema name is public, and third schema is test2. By default, this public schema will be created. So if I'm saying that I want to create any table, let's say create table T1 with the name varchar2, and this is the size. If I'm creating this T1 and the table has been created, let me try to insert a data. Insert into T1 values. Let me insert Learnomate. When I'm creating a table and inserting a data, now this T1 table got created under by default public schema. Let me show you. If I do select star from T1, this T1 data is coming from the public schema. Now, if I want to create another schema, I can simply do that. Create schema and schema name. Let's say I want to create a schema with the name U2. Okay. I have created this schema. If I want to verify whether the U2 schema got created or not, I can say /dn. I can see here that the U2 schema got created. Remember one thing, that you cannot log in with the schema. A schema can contain an object. Now let's say I want to create a same table but under U2. So what I will do, I'll say create table. I want to create it under U2 schema, so I'll mention U2 dot and the table name. What is the table name? The table name I'll give same only and same syntax. Done. If I'm inserting something, insert into U2.T1 because I want to insert here values. I'll mention like U2 schema. Okay. Okay, something I have missed here. Insert. Okay, insert spelling is wrong. INSERT. And let me try again. Yes, fine. If I do select star from U2.T1, I am seeing a data from U2 schema. Remember one thing, that T1 name is common. So this T1 is referring to the table which is available under U2 schema. The previous one is referring from public schema. So whenever you are creating any table, that table will be actually getting created under by default under PostgreSQL. I told you one thing in the initial phase, that if I'm creating a schema in one database, it is not available in another database. See, currently I have connected to connection info. Currently I have connected to the Postgres database, which is a default database. And if I check what are all databases I'm having, so I am having the testdb database also available. So currently I have connected to the Postgres database. Let's say I want to connect to the testdb. So I'll say /c testdb. If I'm connecting to the testdb, and if I want to know whether this schema is also available here, so I'll say /dn. When I'm running this command, I can see only public schema. It means the schema which I created under public schema is not available in another schema. So what we understood from the previous lecture, that we have a cluster. Under that cluster, we have 2 databases are there. One is Postgres database. Under this Postgres database, I have created a schema. So the schema which I created here is not available here under my second database, and the second database name was testdb. It was not there. So whatever things I'm going to create here, it will be available here only. I know that you have understood this concept very well, and you want to know more about this concept. There are many things out there, but it is not possible to cover up everything into the single lecture. So if you want to understand about the PostgreSQL database, and if you're looking for real-time training, you can reach out to the Learnomate team. The number is available over the screen. Please do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, Also, you can follow us on our Instagram. If you're interested to know more about this concept, you can mention interested into the comment section. You can just go to the comment section and mention like interested. I'm going to create a lot of video based on the PostgreSQL. If you want to understand this free of cost, I'm expecting interested comment from you. Thank you.